Obviously, Star Wars Celebration, big deal for the Star Wars brand. Happens every 2 years. I think there was like a year they skipped and it like threw off the schedule, but it happens every 2 years, generally speaking. And they just had a big one in Tokyo. And they did announce, as is tradition, at the end of Celebration, that the next one will be in 2027 in LA. Okay, so Celebration. Kind of like their big convention. It's a big place to not only give fans a really cool experience, but also to update fans about what is coming for the brand. And I think this year, I think they did pretty good. And the main thing I want to go over in this segment of the show is I actually believe that there is some hope for Star Wars. Despite a lot of things going wrong, despite my own personal feelings towards Star Wars, I found myself getting excited for several things that were announced, genuinely excited. And I kind of had this thought that this might be the worst it will ever be for Star Wars as a brand right now. We might be in the lowest period ever. I mean, could it potentially get worse? Yes. If Mando Grogu, underperforms and bombs, if Shawn Levy's movie bombs, if Kathy stays around for 5 years and we're getting Rey movies forever that are doing 200 or 300 million worldwide, yeah, that's devastating. Okay, so I don't want to get it twisted. It is technically possible that it could get worse. However, I think it's really bad. Not everybody agrees with me. There's some people out there that think that Star Wars is doing fine. But, I mean, if you just look at the trajectory mostly of the Disney Plus shows, which is all they have, it paints a really scary picture. Acolyte performing so badly that it was canceled. Skeleton Crew can't even perform at that level. Never charted ever. And it was the lowest viewed Star Wars show ever with Skeleton Crew, which is crazy because I know some people think it's really good. A little bit of the Daredevil effect there where fans are just fatigued and they just simply don't care, which will come up again when we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine on Disney Plus as well, right? So having said that and having, truly, I feel as though this might be the lowest that it will ever be. I was kind of shocked that there was stuff that I could get excited about. So as we talked about on Friday, right, I think the Maul show, man, I'm getting more and more excited about Maul. There was obviously the panel, the announcements. I actually scooped that a couple of weeks ago because I was like, I just threw it into that video. I thought it would be cool. And it was confirmed. But then the leaked trailer came out, right? And the leaked trailer is just oh, man. That is really cool, dude. I already thought they were cooking. But when you see that leaked trailer, holy. And then the fact that it's going to be Darth Talon. Oh, my goodness. Just really, really cool. I think it's probably, Ahsoka Season 2 is my most anticipated Star Wars thing, but Maul is right under it. The Maul show, I think is going to be a big moment for Star Wars as a brand. I think it's going to capture that Clone Wars energy. I think it's truly a show, and you can't really say this about a lot of other things. You cannot say this about Andor. You cannot say this about Ahsoka because in some ways those two shows are diametrically opposed, and you've got a bunch of pinky out butthole people that prefer Andor, and then you've got actual Star Wars fans that prefer Ahsoka, right? I think the Maul show has the best chance out of all these shows to bring all of those fans together and get them excited. Now, of course, it's a cartoon, it's animated. But I think Star Wars specifically has had such a rich history being connected to animation. Animation is such a big part of it. I mean, Clone Wars on Netflix. It's so funny that Netflix is lingering over this entire discussion today as this very fucking influential thing. But it is true that when the Clone Wars was on Netflix, it was one of the biggest things that was being watched on Netflix, and it did so much heavy lifting for the Star Wars brand and introducing it to all sorts of people for years. Okay? So I really think that Maul has a chance to be incredible and to really bring the fan base together. So I think the Maul project seems really, really cool. We spoke a lot on Friday about Shawn Levy's movie. A lot of questions there, but for me personally, I can see an outcome in which Shawn Levy helps to put Star Wars back into a place where it should be. You know, we talked about the 15-year-old male protagonist that is being trained. We talked about the couples that are the villain, or the male and female villain. You know, the Goss character, the Goss himself is some kind of force-trained person that has a wife. There's a lot of really interesting elements there. And ultimately, if it just gives us like a young shonen type story, like we're following this young protagonist as he develops and goes on an adventure, I mean, I think that just strikes all the right tones. It feels like Star Wars to me. And, you know, Levy himself could be the perfect guy to like bring that back and to just reestablish that mythos and that DNA for what Star Wars is. So I have questions. I have concerns. But at the end of the day, I am still excited that is going to be the next big movie other than Mando and Grogu. So much better than Charmin Obed-Chinoy, activist Rey movie, like, frankly, right? So there's some good stuff here. Now, over the weekend, stuff that we didn't talk about on Friday, of course, the Ahsoka Season 2 panel. And holy crap, it was, I thought it was incredible. They're definitely cooking, and of course they sort of confirm a lot of stuff that I talked about in my leak video. We're not going to go full leaks here. I don't like to do leaks on the live streams. But of course they announced that Anakin Skywalker is coming back, that Hayden's going to be a big part of the show, which, of course we scooped, but it's so cool that they're doing that they're putting that out on Front Street. And I think, one thing about Hayden, man, the enthusiasm, just the presence that he brings, I think is so good for the brand. Him and Ahsoka together, they're so good together. Just like on stage together, they're so good together, and it feels good. So I'm really, really excited about it. What Filoni said, he said a couple of interesting things as far as like the mythos and what they're building. Obviously, Akbar and Thrawn, that's a whole thing, which is not in the video I made at all because, frankly, I didn't actually hear a lot about what's going on with Thrawn and that side of things. So I'm curious to know more. But I love this idea of Akbar coming back. I mean, once again, like Dave bringing this awesome legacy character back into the fold. The Akbar actor was literally crying inside of his mask at how poorly he was treated by Kathleen Kennedy. You know what I mean? So it's like you just see this story over and over again. Dave doing the heavy lifting to try to bring, the right things back. I love it. Akbar, let's go. Akbar versus Thrawn, let's go. I think it's fantastic. That's going to be great. Obviously, a lot of this stuff going on Peridia with Baylan Skoll and all those sort of things. Those were spoken about. We got to see what Rory looks like as Baylan. I think he looks great. I think they're even going to adjust it. That was a screen test. So when he actually has makeup full on for the show to look even better, I would imagine. And, the thing about Rory, it's so interesting because him and Rey were friends in real life. They were really close. And Dave got the blessing of Rey's widow. Rory got the blessing of Rey's widow, and it's like this really feel-good thing of like trying to honor what Rey had done and push the character forward. Now, Dave says one thing that's really interesting in that whole thing, where he said Baylan's a really important character. In some ways, he's an antithesis to Ahsoka. Now, I don't want to go into like spoilers, but just think about what that means. Like, given the wider scope here, think about what that means. Very, very interesting. And, Dave talked about the Mortis gods and how big that was going to be, how impactful that will be felt. And, yeah, so, you can go watch the leak video I did about it. And it's all real. And it sounds incredible. And I'm really, really excited. So the Ahsoka Season 2 panel was great. And I'm really, really hyped up about it. They dropped some video game stuff over the weekend, too. I'm not super sold on this XCOM RTS kind of thing that they're trying. I like those kind of games, but I like those games. I like multiplayer in them. I like to be able to play against other people. Real-time strategy is just so fun against other opponents. So I don't know that I would play a solo experience XCOM Star Wars game. Having said that, it does look sharp. You know, you can't deny it. It looks sharp. It looks good. I think fans that are big fans of those games will be into it. But man, I didn't need Celebration to get excited about Star Wars Fortnite because, ironically, one of the best things going on for Star Wars is Star Wars Fortnite. Over the last 3 years, every single time Star Wars collabs with Fortnite, it is fucking incredible. It is some of the best Star Wars content, Star Wars gaming content. I have some of the most fun that I can have with Star Wars as a brand in the Fortnite. And dude, this new Star Wars Fortnite season that's coming, oh my God. Like it looks extensive. They went for it. Darth Jar Jar, which I find hilarious, memey, and just really, really fun. 5, I think, different parts to the season, so like a building narrative. And remember when Dave and Feige were on stage for the epic panel? I don't know if you remember this. I remember it. But they were both brought on stage. I believe it was at D23 last year. And first of all, I love seeing those two dudes on stage together and like, just, you know, get Kathy out of there kind of thing. But they were both talking about the collabs that they had done with Fortnite. And at the time, we were about to get into the Doom season, right? And the return to season 1 and all that sort of stuff, which, by the way, like, it was fun, but, like, I'm going to be real, it wasn't as good as it should have been, in my opinion. The Marvel season, I love the weapons. I thought they were really fun. I had a good time with it, but it wasn't as good as it should have been. I can't believe that what Dave cooked up with them is seemingly so much more involved and so much better. Kind of wild, but a rare Star Wars W over Marvel, because I think the Star Wars Fortnite stuff is going to be incredible. And I think we're going to play the shit out of it and have a lot of fun. Like, I'm telling you right now, I love the Star Wars Fortnite stuff. And it seems so cool what they're cooking there. So that's really good. The Star Wars Eclipse game made some updates, talked about how they're still doing their thing. They're still going to try to make that game. And to this day, that trailer is maybe one of the coolest pieces of Star Wars content we've had in 5 years. Like, it's very cool. And then it was tragic to hear that, like, that shit wasn't going to happen or whatnot. So various, like, positive updates, right? So you have, like, various positive updates. Now, I do want to say that just like last time, like the last celebration, it's really easy to come out of a celebration feeling very excited and being quite hyped up on stuff. The problem with Star Wars is, like, after last celebration, most of what they announced never came out or came to fruition. And a lot of it wasn't even discussed this celebration. So it's almost like, you know, this in and out kind of thing. Like, it's over, we're so back. I've often described Star Wars under Disney and my experience as a fan as an abusive relationship. You know, I just keep coming back for more, and Kathleen Kennedy keeps sucking me in the face, right? It's like, it's kind of brutal. At the same time, I do have optimism and excitement for a lot of the stuff that was announced. You know, Levy's film, I'm kind of like, but like I genuinely believe that it has the potential to set things right in many different ways. And if that happens, by the way, like, dude, Shawn Levy might be one of my favorite dudes on the planet if he pulls that off, because we need it. Frankly, we need it. Like, really fucking badly, we need it. Dave is absolutely cooking. Ahsoka season 2 is going to be nuts. I don't even know have to say more. Like, it's so good. Video game stuff seems really positive, and there was just like a good vibe. It's good to see Star Wars fans excited about Star Wars. It's good to see, like, you know, because even Theory made like a video about the Maul thing and it popped off for 100K, and it's like, dude, it's good to see that. Like, there's hope here. I think it's possible, even if Kathy sticks around for 5 to 6 years, even if she makes it like really difficult for new or even really older George Lucas kind of Star Wars to thrive, Dave is still CCO. And if you think about, like, for me, it's like, I think about Maul, so excited for Maul. I think about Ahsoka Season 2, I'm so excited for Ahsoka Season 2. You think about, even Mando Grogu, it's like, it's really iffy for me on if that shit's going to be dope. But if it is, I believe Dave will be a big part of that. John will be a big part of that. And if it feels like that kind of stuff and it's adventure, you know, that's a vibe. I mean, frankly, it's more up my alley than Andor and, you know, all of that. So I kind of came to this conclusion where I was like, you know, this is, for me, absolutely the lowest point of my fandom for Star Wars. It's bad. Really upset about it all. And if myself, at the lowest point of interest, at the lowest point of enthusiasm, as the lowest point of hope, can somehow, some way, still find a way to be excited about some projects. I mean, I just think that it might be the case, and this is going to sound a little controversial. I'm starting to think that Star Wars can't actually die. At least it can't die so long as some of the sauce that George left is still being used as an ingredient. You know? Because, like, look, Andor's about to come out, and, like, look, I can't even really talk a lot about Andor. I'm certainly not going to watch the show. I think you guys know where I stand with it. And soon you'll realize that I was right about the controversy. And, you know, you'll decide for yourself how that hits you, how you feel about it, etc. But, like, I had this sort of moment of reflection where I was like, okay, so that's all real. And I'm like, fuck Andor for sure. But I just can, like, ignore it. And then because they're not making any more of that shit, you know? So I can just ignore it and then get excited about the stuff that I like. And so maybe if Star Wars and if Dave can keep serving up stuff that feels like it's for me and fans of, like, more of the George Lucas stuff and whatnot, then maybe we can survive a couple of grape scenes in Andor. And by the way, that's not even, they're also breaking lore in Andor. You'll see. People are going to talk about it. You know, I'm interested to see how people talk about it. For me, I just don't give a fuck. It's all not Star Wars to me. But maybe we can survive a little lore breaking, a little grape. So long as there's still the spirit of the thing I love. You know, I don't know that I'll ever get so disgusted with Star Wars that I won't get excited when I hear a lightsaber. You know? I don't know that I'll get so butthurt about Star Wars that I won't get excited if I hear a John Williams theme. Or a version of it, you know? And ironically, like, I'm kind of at this place where, like, I'm really excited. Like, Ahsoka, Maul, these are, like, really, really high on my list. I can't even think of any Marvel shows, and there's only a couple Marvel movies that I'm actually more excited about than Dave's stuff. So, what a world. You know, what a world, and what a place to be in as a fan and for a franchise. And I think at the end of the day, even if we have to suffer 5 more years of KK as a producer, and even if Rey pops up in the Ryan Gosling movie and she's like, peekaboo, bitch, it's still about me. Like, maybe that all fades in time eventually anyway. You know, I think Dave has a long, long career left at Lucasfilm, much longer than Kathleen Kennedy has. And so long as he is there and other people are there to kind of carry that torch, maybe this is the lowest it'll ever be. And it will survive this, and it will continue on. I don't know. It's weird. You know, it's frankly like a weird place to be in, because I still have all the negative feelings that I have. And after we wrap this, I mean, after we wrap this segment, I don't even know when I'll discuss Star Wars again. You know, I guess I'll touch on the Andor controversy when it happens, but, like, I'm not reaching for Star Wars shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, oh, what Star Wars game do I want to play? Or, like, do I want to watch Star Wars? No, like, I'm still very much on the outside here. But there's still stuff that I think is going to be good that I can get excited about. So I don't know. Optimism. Maybe some of the most milquetoast optimism you've ever heard. Begrudging optimism even. Thanks for watching, and if you like this clip, smash a like on the actual video and subscribe to this channel. That way more of these clips get into your feed. I've also linked the full episode below if you want to check out the entire thing, including the Q&A we do with fans. You can also watch this show live. We do it live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can also find all of my content, including the videos I put on my main YouTube channel, on the podcast feed.